What is up, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, day traders, closet swing traders? Hope you guys are doing absolutely fantastic. I see you guys are piling into the room. We got Albert. Good morning. Alex. Good morning. Andy. Ashlyn's in the house. Attorney Dan up bright and early. Bill. Good morning. Brian Thompson. Good morning. Kerry. Corey. Good morning to Eric. Fayaz. My boy Greg G. JCP King. Good morning. We got Jay Leonard Joe. Kevin. Martina. Remco, good morning. Ron is in the house. Good morning. Tanya Wynn. We got you guys still piling in. Everybody YouTube land. We got Richard Jet popping up for all the lurkers just sitting in the background of YouTube. Good morning to all you guys as well. And let's get rolling. Let's see. Market is just essentially being held up by Meta. So big jump last night on Meta. We will get to specifically Meta in a bit, but yeah, it was either pretty much pure fear toward the end of the day. It was a weird day yesterday too. Let's go to yesterday's kind of intraday chart. So a little bit of a push down. We got rallied up to new highs of the day, looking bullish, and then just crash landing, and we've come down. So far, all of these rallies have been sold off. I think today might be a little bit different. We'll see. It is a gap and go on the daily for the SPY. We still got the good news of Meta to kind of carry off of, but again, we've seen some. It's almost we make a trip back to break even at some point. You see Netflix miss earnings, and then they roll right back to break even essentially the next day or the following day. You see Meta or Microsoft yesterday kind of started to roll down a little bit and then kind of got bought up and just was all over the place. So we will see if the Meta earnings hold. I don't know, but here's the SPY. If we're looking at just pockets of liquidity, it's not a horrible gap whatsoever. I gotta move if I could. Let me see if I can do this. I can't move my Zoom thing to. I don't know. All right, I'll have to take the pen from one screen and move it to the other. Let's see. There we go. But yeah, just in terms of pocket of liquidity, as long as this level holds, which now all of this should be some type of support. It's a decent gap. Right. So I think we could come back, retest here. This would give us maybe somewhere around the 407 zone. So I'd be looking for that as my bounce. Hopefully that liquidity, anybody who was going short is probably trapped, going to look to exit out at the higher levels of volume. And then we have probably all the way up to, this is going to be annoying if I got to keep changing my mouse back to the drawer thing, but probably about 409.68 would be target one. So that gives us a good $2.60, 65 cents to the higher end range. That's not bad. Harold says, what VPOC indicator is that one? This one is the Lux Algo volume profile. I didn't change any of the settings, so just type in Lux Algo. They have a suite of different tools. The one I use is the volume profile. Yep. But that's going to give us a decent trip to northbound. The other thing I do want to consider too, and again, I don't know that we rip astonishingly and amazingly bullish, but let's flip this back to the daily. Let's see where that would get us. That's going to get us a Fibonacci. Right. And I don't know, maybe this is a wave one. That's 2, 3. This could be ABC. This is a 1. And we could roll. So I don't know right now. This is the longest one. So I'd have to go with 3 on that. But let's see. Let's just do a quick fib. We know where our bottom kind of move is. And let's see where this 618 is. Or the 50. So the 50 is at 408, right? So we said we could get to about 407. What was it? 407 or 409? We said 409 and change, right? So 409.51. That takes us up to the 618. So all of this could still be a healthy bounce and still just be just part of the flow of how this thing is working. But 408.41 that's at least a 50%. We could feel extra bullish when we get to somewhere in the 409 zone. So we have some room to the upside. All of this trend could still be continuing. We still be in chop zone before we actually make our move. Are we actually breaking higher, or is this going to be short-lived? I think GDP came out today and we are lower. So there is still more signs of a potential recession. However, again, the market, I think, is still programmed and set to think all recessions are good at this point. Not so much recession, but the fact that the economy is slowing down immensely. Because again, everybody's kind of more watching the Fed than they are the actual economy. So I think there could be a certain point where that switches over and you're like, okay, that's great that we're supporting the Fed here, but at the same time, economy is crashing. So we're at least slowing down, But so we're in that 409 zone would make a lot of sense for the SPY. So yeah, I do think we have some upside today. It is a really nice gap. We've got QQQ. Again, decent gap. This one, I don't know. Let's go to the intraday on this one. Let's see if we get those pockets of liquidity. Yep, so not as much room, I don't think. The Qs are going to be a little bit tougher. I would start looking at about 315.84 as a potential short. So that's only going to give us about 60 cents to the higher side. And then probably a much better location if you're going to take out puts or anything like that would be 316.24. We're starting to, so now this would be our second. Today was our third higher VPOC. And then we, again, pull into some kind of resistance. If we start to break that 316.24 zone, probably next spot would be about 317.09. And then maybe we get up to about 317.92. I don't know if any of that happens today. So I think we have a little bit more room on the SPY to go bullish if we're going to go bullish something. Qs, we did see that they were kind of running a little heavier, which again, off the backs of Meta does make a little bit more sense. Let's take a look real quick at Meta. I think even pre-market again, we were just running up. Let's see if we can get the daily chart. We don't need that no more. Let's go here. Yeah, we still actually have some room to the higher side. Probably about 246.65 is where we could get to today. That could also potentially break out higher. And if it does, we don't really have anything in Meta until. So this area right here is going to be a heavily defended area, right? So I'll call it 247, right? So somewhere around that 247, whether it happens today or not, that should be a defended area by bears. Because if that starts to break, there's really nothing up until probably about 311. So you can still have massive moves on Meta, and we'll see if any of that happens and comes true. But and then probably the highest side is about 328. So there's a lot of room in here. We got a lot of support right now, so decent look for Meta. Probably for some more continuation in the future. Question is today: is this gap too big? Does anybody want to take any profits? And again, we're getting close to at least an area that's going to start getting contended. Although we do have about $4 or $5 further, potentially in a bullish direction. So I don't know. When saying inverse head and shoulders, maybe, but I think the inverse head and shoulders. Yeah, I know what you're looking at. Where's this pen thing? So what I'm thinking is, you know what I can do? I'll do that in a second. You're probably looking at this area and maybe this. I would think more so that we did already have that inverse head and shoulders. Something like there, something there. That this becomes your neckline, right? And we were probably on the way to retesting but that could be the retest. We probably just didn't get too much of it because of the earnings that came out. So, yeah, I think the inverse head and shoulders is here. It happened. And again, I think all of that volume now on the bottom of Meta is going to be some kind of support. So, yeah, I would not want to, I don't know about today. Today, this is a big gap. Maybe as we start to come into the Bears defensive zone, we might have some kind of short. I'd still rather short it a little bit higher than not. But all of this volume, again, is going to act as some kind of, so I'm going to be looking for some kind of longs on Meta, but I don't know if I could do it after we're up, 11, 12% today, something like that. So it's going to be a tricky one. Crocs reported, somebody said, and Crocs beat. Why would they not beat? I still have not met somebody that physically purchased Crocs, but apparently there's at least one person out there buying Crocs. So it looks like they were pretty much in line with earnings, and then they're giving some back. So I don't know if that's on Outlook or what, but yeah, they're it's a beat, and then they drop. That was a good run up into earnings, so there's probably some profit taking. We still have some room to fade a little bit further to the downside. First spot would be about 134.17. If that ends up breaking, we would probably be looking for levels around 128.03. So somewhere in that zone would be a good retest on Crocs. But as much as I would love to just short Crocs because I think they're stupid, we have to go with the charts, and the charts are telling me we were probably already kind of high. Decently high in that run up. We could get a further push later on. So again, all those moving averages are still somehow trending bullish, not figuring out how, but yeah, we could probably see a retest back to 176.29 if we're getting in at the right spot, but we would have to fall a little bit further for that. And I don't know, again, if this is some kind of forecast that they put out that that there could be some struggle ahead, but if you're Crocs, there's no struggles. You're you need to get to the South more. Is that a Southern shoe? The South is going to claim it. I'm gonna some point today I'm gonna look at where Crocs actually started. We have them in camo. Yeah, the only problem with camo Crocs though is they legitimately have holes in them. So if you're hunting, number one, you're getting twigs in your shoes the entire time. That's got to be uncomfortable. And then two, if you're using it for the purpose of camo and you're hunting a deer, that deer is going to spot your toes. You're going to be like, nah, there's toes. I see it right through the camo shoes. So it doesn't really serve too much of a purpose to have them in camo. But I like the idea. Snakes. All right, let me see what else is trending, what else is moving, what else do you guys want to look at? I don't know. Let's take a look at NVIDIA. I'll run through some of the stocks that are just kind of on the list. We'll run it down, but we got 16 minutes and not a lot coming in, actually. Not a lot coming in. NVIDIA. So NVIDIA was strong yesterday with a nice gap up, a little bit of an indecision candle. Still, again, we're getting to this area where we have a little bit of resistance. We might be at that now, but this would be our second time retesting it. I could see us breaking through. Upside becomes a little less exciting until we start to break this 278.86. Once we break 278.86, then we have a decent amount of room to the upside. But for now, we're just still in Chopzilla trade sideways for the last 2-3 weeks. So we will see on that one. Has HD have retest gaps? Let's check out HD. HD. Yeah, so that is a retest gap. We'll see if pre-market we got down there. But I'll be looking for at least a retest of 280, 284.99. This does not look like the strongest chart so far, so that does look like we are breaking down. In a longer term sense, the question is, where can the bulls try to save this thing if they're going to? So if you're going to play this as a retest, you're going to be in there short. Scalp it. Maybe quick move at open. If it drops right out of the gate, watch for like a 283.42 zone. That would get you good risk reward. That's probably going to be where the bulls want to step in and start trying to save it, because if we get any type of close below 280.68, it's going to have a pretty deathly spiral down where we're going to see targets of about 274.81 on the minimum. But yeah, this is a one heck of a gap down. Came back. This is supposed to be our retest, and fundamentally or technically speaking, I think we are probably continuing that down. So I think the bearish trade is going to be easier, but we do have to watch and defend this. So it is a retest gap. If you want to go short, you got to go. You probably have to wait till it bounces a little bit higher if you get it. Or again, if you're breaking this 280.81, that would be a decent spot to try to take advantage of about $6 further to the downside. Let's see. Caterpillar beat by 29%. They got some camo tractors, I think. Let's see. Yep. beat by 29%. They're down. Let's see. Yep. So surprise beat 29%. They came in with a surprise of $761 million. Just not enough. Just not enough, apparently. Who could be happy by beating by 29%? Doesn't make sense. But yeah, again, I'm going to go off of a technical basis here, because you would think once you beat, and it's not even like we had a great run up into those earnings, so you would expect probably a little bit more of the, like, hey, we sold, maybe this is a good move to run, but doesn't look like the bulls are here to play on this one whatsoever. I would say we are below all of that liquidity. So all your resistance is going to start to come around to, what is it, 216, 216.85, somewhere in that zone. This is a retest gap. We are breaking some decent levels. I would prefer to go long on this one for the retest. I don't know if it's going to come down, but 209, roughly about 210. So the closer we can get to 210 for our setup, that would be a decent attempt to retest this. Otherwise, technically, it is a retest gap. You are going to start to run into about $2 to the downside. You're going to start to run into a spot where, man, we'll see where this thing opens. It's been jumping $1.50 since as we're looking at this thing. But yeah, if we get any real open below 209.65, you could be in free fall. Not a lot saving this thing. And that would take us to about 196 somewhere in the longer term. But Caterpillar definitely one to watch. Let me just add that to the list. We'll throw it decent. It's got to be one where I probably have to wait, see at the beginning of the day what happens for the first couple minutes, just because we didn't really break down. We're not exactly at the levels I want to go long yet. What is up, Hector? We got Hasbro. HAS. That one looks decent. Technically, the retest gap. This one probably is going to fade. I would probably look to fade this one down. So it's got about $4 to the upside. We are definitely breaking some kind of pivot. There's enough room in this one. You're going to have about $2. So I would look to fade this one short for maybe $2 or 1.5 Rs, wherever you could get it. But I think we got to come down, retest those pivots first as we're kind of pushing into some kind of support. So again, this is probably where I would like to, if I was in here, which there was a slight little run up, almost looks bull flag-ish. If you're any of those guys, you're probably locking profits into that support zone. So that would be a decent look to fade that one. Did we look at Amazon already? We did not. AMZN. Maximo's in the house. YouTube land. What's up, Maximo? All right, we got Amazon. still a lot of volume in this area. Like there's liquidity everywhere. Everywhere. But that is a good gap. It is taking us above some kind of moving averages. We had 2 down days, 1 inside day, so we definitely built some pressure for the trapping some of those bears. Target on this one could be about 112.14. Yeah, I like Amazon. I would love, again, give me like one red candle on a 3-minute, and I could take a break higher than it because we do have some room to the higher side. So Amazon would look decent for a long. Win says I'll be back, having technical difficulties with my monitor. All right, you got it. Let's take a look at Tesla. Tesla for my boy Richard Jett. Still weak. Yep, still weak. And we have a lot of room still. What I was hoping for did not come true whatsoever. So I don't have any positions or anything on this. What I was looking for was kind of a move up to like this 176 zone. And then I was going to look to get some kind of put. So I thought we could get some kind of a bounce. I'm still waiting just in case, but if it gets back to that 176, I will be taking out puts on this thing. Otherwise, it's just been in free fall. Market, even when it was strong yesterday, did not hold up very good. Market started to come down, and then Tesla joined the party to also come down with it. So pretty weak. There's not a lot holding this thing back till about 145. And I think that everybody's kind of eyeing that gap at this point. So we'll have to see on that. But yeah, I mean, here's how kind of pockets of liquidity. Somewhere, if this thing gets to about 159.85, that's going to be some type of probably resistance at this point. Not a lot of where we're at now. Slight little retest, so maybe don't be the first one to short it. See if you get a little type of bounce. And yeah, we could probably look to, I mean, I know everybody's looking at that gap, but honestly, we could make it all the way back to about 122 on this thing. So we'll have to see. What are we doing on Meta? I don't know. Meta's gonna be a tough one. We have about $4 or $5 to the upside. We did take a look at Meta, but we have about $4 or $5 to the upside, but it's already a major gap. So it's very, very difficult for me to go long up there. If it could run a couple more, I think I have to short where I think the bear is going to try to defend it. Yeah, Q's gap and go, SPY gap and go. Yep. So Tesla, I don't want to go bullish yet on Tesla. I will continue to short that one. And again, it looks different than the market. Everything else is kind of gapping up higher, and Tesla's still just fading. There's going to be a point. There has to be a point where some bulls want Tesla, I would imagine. All right, check out Google. Let's check out the Googs. Googs. Google not really cooperating, so slight little gap up, inside day still. It kind of is a little bit like Nvidia. We've just been in this zone for a long time. Earnings is going to get us out. So I don't know what would get us out except for just some kind of momentum. But the longer we stay in, great. The trend was up until that. So as long as we start breaking down, probably about 103, probably that high wave, I guess, is going to be a little support, because right now we are still putting in lower highs. Technically, that's a lower low, but the bulls did come back. They saved it. So you do have that little bit of a bull trap or bear trap on the table. And you got some of those moving averages still hanging out. So probably go long anywhere above 107 and remain short anywhere around 103. Probably how I would look to play that. Amazon. Yeah, let's see if we want to do like any type of SPY or Q plays or something like that, maybe with some options early morning, but it is a gap and go. Yeah, so I think the SPY has more room than some of these tech names, which unfortunately that means Crocs. Well, unfortunately that means I got to go with Crocs today. But yeah, no, SPY, I have to remain kind of bullish at this point. Again, we're going to have some moving averages coming in. I don't think it's going to be, I don't know if it's going to be a straight shot up, but I have to go bullish just thinking we're trapping some people. And again, even that, yeah, we're trapping some people. Technically speaking, this is a gap and go. This is all retest. That's why I'm looking kind of at that 50% as opposed to even getting back up to this 411. So, I don't know. Then we have decent volume yesterday, but even more volume the day before. So there's still a lot of bears in this thing. Still a decent amount of bulls trapped on this thing. And as much as we are trapping some bears, we're not trapping all of them. NVIDIA is such a beast. NVIDIA just doesn't quit. Yep. And again, we've been just chopping in this just sideways pattern for a while. So if I was to go calls or puts on SPY at open, I'd probably look to take the SPY puts, probably lay off on the Qs and just not play the Qs. I think we're a little bit closer, so maybe I'll do some of that and we'll see. All right, let me see. Is there any other tickers, any other comments? Amazon, ABBV, Abivai. Did they report earnings? Earnings miss. As much as I love Abivai, they're up a lot. So I do own them. I have them in the long term. I still like them as a company. I like them on a fundamental basis. I like the dividends. Everything looks good, but yeah, they're up there. They're up there. We're almost just building out this kind of longer term flag. And right now we're just sitting in the middle of this thing. So if you want to play for a day trade, which I don't really day trade it, but I guess it could get some decent moves in it. This would be a retest gap, and you're probably looking to buy it at the open. So I know that a lot of people do want to get in this thing because of the dividends. So the lower it comes in, we do have strong support somewhere around 152.62. That would be the best place to look to buy this thing if you're going to try to do it. You also have almost a 3-bar reversal pattern down here. That would be the retest into it. So, yep, somewhere right around that, probably 152.53 if you could get it. And that would be also at the bottom of that channel, the pennant pattern. So you'd be buying low, trying to sell high. FRC, is that still a bank? Let's see. I'm surprised we're still hanging in there. Yep. I think the upside potential of this one is going to be very, very difficult. Essentially, I think the Fed came out and just said, we're going to let this one die. It's either they die or figure it out like the same. You're not going to get the same help. It doesn't sound like that SVB got. And even with the SV, like even on the, not that SVB got the help specifically, but the people banking with the customers got their deposits protected. It kind of didn't sound like the government was interested in doing that. For the most part, about 75% of their deposits currently in the bank are FDIC insured, meaning that they're under the cap of the $250,000 limit. But you still have about 25% of it that is over the limit. And I'm guessing those are the people that are going to be freaking out, panicking, and probably continuing to withdraw some money for right now. RBC, if you get some more help, did you hear that? RBC, FRC might get some more help. It doesn't, to me, it doesn't sound like it. The help that I think comes in is going to be from the government or FDIC going into reserves, but we'll see. It kind of sounded like they were just going to leave them be to what I'm understanding. But that was the morning bell. Everybody, YouTube land, you guys are absolutely incredible. Make sure you guys do the thumbs up, the like, the jumping up and down, whatever YouTube people tell you to do to the videos to help the algos. I appreciate that. And make sure you guys check out reallifetrading.com for the beginner intermediate.